If we could put our hands together for our first candidate for the financial vice president position. Julia?
Hello everyone, I'm Julia Wallace. I'm a second year majoring in both quantitative economics and math, adding a concentration in mathematical finance, and I'm hoping to serve as your next financial vice president. Finance is a path I've wanted to pursue since I was 16. For 2 years, I was part of the model legislature in Court's Department of Finance, where I would travel to Sacramento to develop proposals for the California state budget alongside a group of other delegates. My second year in this program, I was selected to be a budget committee chair, making me responsible to double check the accuracy of costs and revenues, as well as leaving me as the head of one area of the budget. This experience not only taught me to be realistic with how to spend money, but also made me realize the importance of directing your money into the things you believe in. This is a value I would like to hold true for PASS's funds if I'm given the opportunity. One quality I feel is vital for an FVP to be successful is transparency. I understand the decisions I would make very well may upset other board members, for example, if they feel an event isn't getting enough funding, which is why it would be important for me to communicate how I came to the decisions I did. I plan to explain why I said yes or no to a budget request, as well as why that dollar amount was decided. Being honest and explaining my thought process, as well as hearing out other people's ideas, would allow for greater mutual understanding. I'd also like to roughly estimate budgets for events we know well in advance are happening, both for larger scale events such as retreat and open mic night, as well as slightly smaller projects such as mentorship reveals. I'd like all board members to feel their projects are valued and appreciated and not just an afterthought when it comes to funding. When making monetary decisions, I'd like to ensure we all think about whether or not spending money on something enhances the well-being of the club or the event being put on, and if it's truly necessary. Spending money simply because we have the means to do so is something I'd like to avoid so we can be prepared for when we're met with unexpected costs. Financial responsibility is something I find a lot of importance in, as shown by the workshop my SIBs and I hosted last quarter on budget-friendly grocery shopping. My goal as FVP would be to make the most efficient financial decisions so that PASS has the means for its programs to grow. Holding people accountable, including myself, would be emphasized if I were FVP. It would be important for me to keep records or receipts for any transactions and reimbursements to ensure funds are being utilized properly. As John shadowed this quarter, I'm becoming more familiar with a lot of the behind-the-scenes work he does as FVP, as well as the thought process put into each task. John has continually given me the opportunity to be more hands-on with shadow duties and has been very receptive to feedback I have for changes so we can test out new ideas. A huge responsibility of FVP is to organize fundraisers, most of which are on Ring Road selling lumpia Shanghai. Working these fundraisers for winter and spring has given me experience in setup, cooking, cash handling, and now inventory checks. I have confidence that I'll be able to handle these events smoothly. I plan to use the sales history from previous fundraisers, as well as take into account the weather that day and other events taking place on campus to determine the optimal amount of drinks and food to have on hand at these events. Aside from lumpia fundraisers, I'd like to have more after events as fundraisers, since that's when we tend to have the best turnouts. I'd also like to work with next year's social director to have fundraisers outside of food, such as go-karting or roller skating, so we can have new and fun socials while raising money for PASS. I do understand that we all have personal budgets to work with, so I'd like to keep the more expensive events to a minimum. For fundraisers that require a larger participant number, I think collabing with Fusion would serve as a great way to not only create bonds with their members, but also raise money for both clubs. I hope to start fundraising as soon as the school year starts, dependent on PASS's tax ID status. John has also expressed interest in allowing me to work with him to get ASUCI funding, something I would be responsible for next year if I serve as FVP. Ultimately, my caster is giving me all the resources and experiences he feels I would need in order to be prepared for this position and have the smoothest transition possible, which I'm very grateful for. Though I understand the duties of FVP are not exactly the same as a financial advisor or an investment banker or other careers in finance, I feel the love I have for numbers, strategizing, and planning will drive me to thrive in this position. This position best culminates the skills I already have with potential to grow as an individual. I'm already a very organized person, have a strong work ethic, and I'm good at prioritizing and and serving as FVP would allow me to become more comfortable with networking for sponsorships and fundraising. I know the key for me to do well in front of others is to be prepared, but with practice, I hope it becomes more second nature instead of such a daunting task. In my time in PASS, I've experienced so much personal growth. I was honestly hesitant to accept the position of being an intern this year, but decided to give it a chance because I knew it would at least allow for deeper friendships with members of PASS, which I really needed in my life. The genuine nature of people in this organization has allowed me to share myself with others, something I've historically been terrified of doing. PASS has given me confidence to feel that my ideas and perspective matter, and to believe that I'm worth more and am capable of more than I know. If all of this can happen from a position I wasn't sure I wanted, I'm excited to see what more can be accomplished from taking on a greater leadership role, something I've had my heart set on. I have yet to be on PASS board, but I believe the work I've put into being an intern has been reflective of my capabilities and dedication to this org. The internship program has given me firsthand insight to how this year's board functions, so I feel prepared to take on this challenge. Being on exec board is not something I would take lightly, and I understand that at times I may feel overwhelmed or discouraged, but that's where the supportive environment PASS caters would push me to keep going. This year, PASS for me has been about becoming proud and sharing who I am as a person, and I hope next year will allow me to share my skills to help PASS remain as an organization with ample opportunity for self-realization, close friendships, and interpersonal development. PASS has filled a hole in my heart I knew I had, but didn't think would be mended during my time at UCI, and I hope to create a positive experience for others as well. Thank you for this opportunity to run for Financial Vice President, and thank you, PASS, for giving me the courage to stand here today.